All right, guys, so guess what? We have several games launching this week, and it's interesting because according to my boy Inlet, his link will be down below, his graph here shows that Stadia needs to release at least 2 games a week from here on out to the end of the year, so we hit 100 titles. And we have 3 games that are coming this week, with one of them being a stealth Stadia Pro title that we'll check out. But also we got new trials now bringing the total to 100, which I think is insane. We also are going to take a look at some upcoming features Stadia is working on. We have a massive video here, guys, so with all that, let's just get into it. So today Stadia has dropped a brand new pro game called Frog Island, and this is interesting because this is a completely brand new title that actually released today and actually came out before even on Steam and other platforms on Stadia. Now I haven't had a chance to get into this one yet, but the premise is that you're casted away on an island paradise with frogs. You'll be taking on quests, you'll be exploring the game at your rate, so it's very casual, very relaxing exploration type of game. There's also things like fishing, farming, trading with the locals, so it looks like a very interesting title. The title has released at around 16 bucks across other platforms, but today it's free with Stadia Pro, so make sure you guys claim it. Now DC League of Super Pets is also going to be arriving on July 15th. This is a little adventure title for the tykes who might just enjoy this one and really like the franchise. I'm guessing this won't head to Stadia Pro, which I think is a bit of a bummer, but I also always hesitate to say buy these games because a lot of times they end up appearing on Stadia Pro at a later date, usually months from now. But even then, this is coming out soon, and if you just want to go ahead and experience this now, it's going to be available here in just a couple days. Then of course I talked about this last week, Valiant Hearts will be coming on July 15th. This is a great game with awesome storytelling. I've always loved this game's visuals, and it has some really good action sequences and good puzzles. You won't go wrong if you end up buying this one. With that, guys, the big thing that I've waited for so long is finally here, something that I've questioned for a long time and why it hasn't happened sooner, but finally, guys, Outcasters is now available free to play. I've gotten to pour dozens of hours into this game. It's a fantastic player versus player arena title, and it's kind of hard to explain what type of game this is other than just like a arena battler, but the gameplay is so solid, so competitive, has you at the edge of your seat. The game also features different modes, and if you don't have a full lobby, you actually get thrown in there with some bots, so there's always games to be had. This is also important because, guys, I have a birthday stream coming up here in just 2 weeks where I'm going to be giving away big Stadia game codes as well as a ton of other prizes, so I like to feature games like this on these types of streams, especially this birthday stream, so this should be a lot of fun. Stay tuned, I will have a lot more details in the next 2 weeks on that stream, but guys, I have to say, finally happy to see Outcasters becoming free to play. And with that, guys, staying on the games news, and we have so much news for Stadia in this regard, more new trial demos are available. This is now bringing the total to a whopping 100 titles. We are almost at the point of having half the library having free trials and demos. I think that's amazing. Some of the games to highlight here that are new: the Serious Sam games, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Monster Supercross 4, Phoenix Point, and some Yeast titles are here as well. Again, this means that you guys can just jump into these games completely untethered for a limited amount of time and test these games out before purchase, and you don't even need a Stadia account if you're brand new to the platform. So if you ever want a friend or family member to try out Stadia or play with you, just send them a link to these free trials. Again, I can't reiterate enough how incredible this is all around, and I think this is just in time as the Mexico expansion is about to happen, which I think is going to make the second largest country to host the Stadia platform. And coming in with these demos and trials and pretty much having the ability to have a free console in the cloud is just crazy good, and crazy good at a marketing tool when you do come to these new countries. All right, guys, so 9 to 5 Google has a new APK teardown. Their link will be down below for their article, but in these teardowns we get to see potential new features and new things that Stadia is working on. One new thing that was found was potentially just doing some simple post reactions to the explore page. Another here that's very interesting: too many players warning. So this would be a prompt that the service is overloaded with people and can't be used. Now this makes a ton of sense with the Mexico expansion looming. Now I don't expect this would affect servers in the current regions for Stadia that's being used, because when you log in to play Stadia, you usually get something in your country first. So if Mexico opened up, I don't think it would start pulling from servers in Europe, if that makes any sense, at least not in a big way. So I suspect this is fully gearing up for the Mexico expansion as well as other expansions in the future. My guess is also if they are prepping something like this, I will not be shocked whatsoever if they are going to heavily market Stadia in these new expanded countries. One last thing that I want to go ahead and note is that there's a message for Play Anyways, and apparently it could reroute players to a further Google Cloud server, meaning you won't get as good of a play session, but you get to jump in either way. But what I said I think still stands. I highly doubt that means that if they pull from the US servers, we're going to start to see too many players warning on our end, for example. I think this is mostly regulated to the new expansions and it'll mostly affect them. Either way, super interesting stuff, and the fact that they think that this could potentially be a problem, I think is very, very cool. And then finally, guys, more codes were found in regards to something mentioning spectator media player and then party stream sharing. So this could be watching streams of other people within Stadia itself instead of something external like a YouTube stream. I actually think this would be super interesting if they ended up being like, or if this ended up being like a hack to have Stream Connect for games that don't actually implement that, if that makes any sense. So instead of having to rely on developers to do Stream Connect and implement that into their game, what if you could actually see your buddy's stream in its entirety this way? So I don't know if this is what this is going to end up being, but if it is, I honestly feel that this would be one of the best cloud gaming features across all the cloud gaming platforms, especially for Stadia. I really would even argue this is the very best feature you could have. So wow, if it ends up being that, that's going to be amazing. All right, guys, our last piece of Stadia news today, I wanted to take a look at something that was discovered by friend of the channel, John Scar, and he found this post from LinkedIn where Legacy Games had a statement to say about some of the games on Stadia. And they go on to say, in March and April, we launched hidden object games on Stadia, and we had no idea how they would perform. They were the first of that genre on the platform. Fast forward, both games did well, especially Adam Wolf. Then they go on to say, if you want to try Stadia tech, check out this instant demo. I play this PC game both on Mac and Android, and it worked just as advertised. Then at the end it says, contact us if you are interested in porting your game to this new platform. So I'm guessing there at the end he's just saying if you have questions about Stadia and getting your game onto the platform, hit us up. So Legacy Games basically saying how awesome being on Stadia has worked out for them, and I'm assuming being very profitable as well. This is something that we have now heard a few times, especially from the developers of Winemaking Simulator and others. It makes a lot of sense. This community is absolutely starving for more games. If you bring high quality indie titles or a AA title to Stadia, you're absolutely going to make money. There's little tidbits of information out there. If you guys follow someone like Jack the Sleepe, another friend of the channel on Twitter, who keeps count of the gaming boards across games across Stadia, and it shows thousands of players hop on obscure games that aren't as popular. But I mean, there you go. You'll see potential tens of thousands of people trying these games out on Stadia and being on these leaderboards even after just a short amount of time. Keep in mind, these numbers are more than likely just a fraction of what actual Stadia users are out there. So yeah, there's absolutely people using and loving Stadia, and you can absolutely make money here. Heck, guys, just even a reference on my own YouTube channel, if 4,000 or 5,000 people are interested in Stadia news, at some point that's 4,000 or 5,000 people that have been using or are using the service, and I'm just a very small fraction of actually Stadia users that actually go on YouTube to look. So it's just really a matter of these devs knowing out there how profitable it is to be on Stadia, which posts like these help with that message. So yeah, I'm not shocked to see this. Of course, this is on games that I personally have never even played myself because I'm not really somebody into hidden object games, but I'm guessing thousands and thousands of people played them. I do think that Stadia Pro is the way to go to really make that profit. I've noticed some games have stopped getting updates, and coincidentally, those games haven't been on Stadia Pro, and so I'm guessing maybe they didn't make as much money, and it makes me wonder overall exactly how the process of being on Stadia Pro works and why some of these developers who are on Stadia aren't taking advantage of the monetization you can make with Stadia Pro. I do plead ignorance on this particular subject because if you're an indie dev or AA studio or even AAA, this community is passionate, would love to have your game on the platform, and being on Stadia Pro makes a ton of sense, especially for your bottom line. But my goodness, either way, guys, if you guys want to know about every game coming to Stadia this year and beyond, click the video on the top left.